Hey everybody, Calls here, and welcome back for another new player analysis. Obviously, it's the beginning of the month, so we have a couple new players now. And I felt for starting with this video, we would go over Reo first. I think Reo is probably a little bit more interesting between the two of them. I think some of the 3 stars that we're going to be getting upcoming wise are pretty decent overall. I think Reo's pretty unique in that. I forgot. Oh no, yeah, I did add it. In that, at level 50, he does have 2 extra grade bonus 5s here. While it is not the level 7 that we've been seeing, I do like that it has this kind of double dippage with his stats just overall. At level 50 is kind of what we've come to expect. Pretty dog shit tile overall. And then a constant stat up, and then decent regular training ups. But like I said, I like this one a little bit more because he does have the 2 grade boosts. And then obviously when it comes to special abilities, we're going to get that. We're going to get a split one now. So we're going to get the Tech Phys 480 at level 50 up until 100. And then we're going to obviously get our normal split of the 720s that we can pick up and the additional turns. All are really strong and pretty valuable. That's a little too early. In terms of skills, I think I showed he does have Dazzle, which is pretty decent. But yeah, I do think at level 50, it's tough to use him unless you are like a new player. But him being able to double dip pretty early on is decently appealing. Because like if you get him to 65 and whatnot, you'll have a lot more stuff to work with. So I am kind of a fan of this. And he's going to be pretty crucial for both tech and physical nowadays because, especially on the physical side, he will stay around for months. So I would say, honestly, investing into him early is not a bad idea. So at 100, obviously, is where every character in this game gets good. Same old song and dance. His flexibility here is really nice. So you'll see, instead of having that skill up, which has been kind of the standard on characters, he actually does come with the dribble training limit break here, on top of having the exercise machine one. And then obviously he gets 140 special lecture, and then he gets the training, like the constant up, and then the physical boost. So it's like what? And that's to 145%. And then this gold inspiration is actually wrong. It's actually a split one. So it's a technical and physical split 120 or 1280, which is actually really good. So I think in general, like his kind of all-arounder approach here is really really useful. And then obviously we got to talk about his face tile. So the skill balanced here increases physical and technical for a while, which is just, it's all right. I think there's a lot better skills, but you obviously, so for some reason, I don't know if this is a typo or not, but it says he gives the speed 480 inspiration. I haven't trained with him too much, so I don't know if this is true or not. But if that's the case, it's a bit fucking weird. Seeming as when you look at his combo tiles, he still gets the technical physical 240 growth here. I don't know, it's really weird. But speaking of the combo tiles, we do have the new skill, an all-around player, which is actually pretty good. So it increases obviously his 2 main stats in physical and tech that he gives out, the attack success rate, shot success rate, and shock block success rate, which is honestly just very versatile. Can kind of just stick it onto any defender and it'll do good. Also, it's great on your captain because it increases that success rate, assuming that it's a physical or technical captain. And then the actual other big thing is to note who he's comboing with. So pretty much at this point, we all know that it's 18 times more stats, 1 extra turn, 10 stages of extra bonus. But now this one will combo with also Borrow and with Rin. So with Rin, it will combo with the Ultra Shuttle Run. And then I think it can also... Oh, it's the Harness Train from Borrow. That's weird. That's that one, but whatever. So yeah, in general, all 3 of them now being on like a comp is actually the most, I would say, common / beneficial way now is having all 3 of those characters due to their tri combos and all being like a lot better in physical outside of like maybe you could like maybe argue some of the older ones are useful, but for the most part physical is kind of set up now. So and then let's see. Does it have his skill here? Oh, I guess that isn't a typo. It's even popping there. That's really weird. No, it doesn't have the gold skill for training that he gives out in training, which is fine. Anyway, so obviously we should probably talk about him as a player. And I'm going to be honest, as a player right now, I think he's pretty shit. So like always, I recommend training at level 65. Otherwise, you get a unit that looks like this. Because you miss out on combo tiles, constant Phys, so on and so forth. So basically, this is the team that he links up with the most, and I'll probably talk about that a bit more later. He can also link up with Isagi, Bachira, Kunigami, Sendo, Nanase, Yukimiya, and then Rin, outside of the current team here, which honestly I wouldn't even recommend putting him into those comps because Kunigami fits in with the Rin V3 comp much better. The only thing I could say you could argue here is that you can swap maybe Shido for Sendo if you prefer it that way, but Sendo just combos with Aiku a lot better regardless, so kind of a waste to do that. But I do think that he does have some pretty strong skills. So he does have the ability... his skills mainly with Nagi are the ones that are kind of like useful. So you have this midfield Blitz Express, which will greatly increase the attack success rate and speed of all allies and cross execution rate for a certain period of time. And then you have this, I think he's got a try with, does he have the try with Cyan? No, he doesn't. Oh. What's stupid? I guess that's later? We'll get that later then. Well, regardless, mainly his links with Borrow and Nagi are what are useful here, but in my opinion, you're still better off using Aiku. Reo is pretty interesting as a player if you can make him work, but mainly because of his gold and his rainbow skill. So his gold skill will make it so that he is able to get second balls easier, and then increases his passing and the speed of all allies for a while. So really good there. And then his rainbow skill is probably the most unique rainbow skill that we have in the meta right now. because it'll activate. It only activates near your own goal. So you kind of would need it to be, sorry about that, a scenario where they shoot, it gets blocked. Reo picks up the second ball there, and then if he can activate the skill, then what it does is it makes it easier for the pass and then to reach an ally. If the pass is successful, their dribbling distance increases, their attack success rate increases, and then their shot success rate increases immediately after getting the pass. So it's pretty good in that, like, you can kind of swing the game around if it hits like one of your breakthrough units, and then you get near to the goal and then possibly score. And then overall, he does not. That last sentence doesn't actually make sense, but you kind of get the point. He right now is waiting for, I think, better teammates and better comps. Personally, I think the U-20 comp is just kind of solved with this guy as the physical unit. So yeah. Moving on, obviously, we have the links. So this time around, actually, not nearly as many links as Borrow had. I think Borrow was a really big outlier compared to what we've seen. But the gist of it is that the characters that you're going to want are going to be the Rin, your Borrow, you're going to want Mitoma as well, Aiku, and then Christmas Nagi, obviously. And then the SSRs just haven't changed. These SSRs, I think it's going to be a little bit before we get another physical SSR, or it could be the next limited. I can't remember off the top of my head though. But yeah, the physical comp is pretty much fully solved. The characters like Kunigami and Raichi and Tokimitsu are kind of outdated now because of Mitoma getting his buffs and us getting all these other guys now. And also the new SSR, the new EXSR is mandatory. And then his trading links for technical. So again, I'm pretty surprised here because there's actually just not a whole lot. So it's just whatever the newest SSRs are, which does make sense, right? It is just going to be the 2 anniversary SSRs, and then the Bachiro one that we got like a couple months ago. And yeah, it makes sense. And then pretty much the tech up is all of the units I think Sai had interactions with. No Festival Bachiro, though, so it's kind of like, at this point, this is kind of your tech core at this point. And then, obviously, the EX card you're using is for your tech run should always be this one. Not too much to say here. It's pretty... There's no triple one yet, so... I don't know if he gets one of those in the future for tech, but yeah, it's kind of weird. So yeah, recommended training. So theoretically, you could also train him in tech and use him as your tech option. However, the 2 tech characters in each of the comps you would want to use him as are Sai and Isagi. So I'm going to recommend only training him in Phys because that's where he would slot in. So your recommended support partners are obviously going to be Rin. But if you have Rin at 100 like I do, you're going to get a lot more value out of using Mitoma before as your friend because he is a limited time unit, and if you did not pull for him, then you're probably most likely just going to slot him in as your friend slot every single time. Unless you don't have Rin at 100, then you probably will just use him. Your EX is obviously always going to be the new Reo one. So in terms of SSRs, obviously the Christmas Henri is limited, but I'd still recommend that one as using it if you have it like maxed out. It's really good. And then obviously these first two SSRs, and then the two that you can substitute. So if you don't have the Christmas Orrery, you probably will have either the Kunigami being knocked out or the old anniversary SSR, which is actually still pretty decent because it did get updated with links and stuff. However, I will note if you do use the anniversary SSR, you're probably going to have to use some of the people under the alternative partners here just to get that benefit from them. But yeah, your recommended partners are, once again, just who he links up with here, right? Because it's just a full team that's built out there. There's no reason not to use those, especially because you get all the tri-links. And yeah, I mean, it's a bit lame, in my opinion, because it kind of just completely nulligates these three. And I do think, like, Kunigami should still have some role in the Phys comp, but that is power creep for you. So, unfortunately, your comp now is only one physical character, two speed characters, and an intelligence character and a kick character. We are back to the old meta where it was 5 kick characters basically as your fucking comp earlier last year. after the made borrow SSR came out. Yeah, so ideal team comp, I've already kind of shown it off. I did put Rin there just in case over borrow. Borrow is actually the better option, but Rin does combo obviously really well with the others on the team comp, and it does kind of just go to show you that he doesn't really have a place here. I'll talk a bit more on that once we get to his future ideal team comp, but yeah, for now he's kind of just, he's like a bad filler placeholder, just better for training overall. And that's kind of where I would slot him as very versatile on training. You will want to max him in the coming months, because I think he is like the last physical, I think he's the last physical unit we're going to get for a bit. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the next units are like mostly dribbling and things like that. Mostly dribbling and intelligence. So, obviously, spoilers. Leave the video now if you don't want to be spoiled on anything. But I think at this point, it's pretty useful to know what's coming out and what to plan for. So, the next unit in tech is actually the next unit we're getting. So the unit we get at the end of this month is going to be Otoya V2, and then we will be getting, I believe, yeah, this is White Day. This is White Day Kira, so we'll be getting him in like middle of March or something like that. So those are the two next tech units, which are like back to back. So I'd say if you are a tech heavy account, you will be seeing a lot of changes, which kind of makes sense because if we do go back and look at some of these, if we do go back and look at some of these links here, right? Yukata, Nagi, and Baro are definitely showing age. They are just getting a bit too old, and obviously Rudel is not going to want them really in the game like that, like usable anymore until like Baro's revival at Halloween of this year. And then on the Phys side, I think these are like way out. So I think the Chigiri is in June, and then I believe Monk is either April or May. I cannot remember off the top of my head, but yeah, they are both a ways out. So if you are a Phys main, you can kind of slowly build up your Reo here and then eventually have him slot in. So I wouldn't really worry about like day one trying to max him. I would focus maybe more on like Rin or something like that, but Reo is pretty useful. And then looking at it as future ideal team comp. So this is definitely going to be a long-term team comp. And when I say this, I mean we do not get all of these units until June. The Nagi there being the last kind of piece of the puzzle comes out in June. The other unit, so the next one, I think I went over this in my previous videos, but we'll be getting the Chigiri, then the Isagi, then the Bachira. Those 4 alone are actually pretty strong. So if we go and take a look at our PWE Egoistic website, you'll see it's the second comp here. We will also, I believe, get this comp, but this comp also takes a while to get as well. But we will... I'm not picking the one with Borrow because the Borrow one's even further out. So this one right here, when we look at it, you'll notice like kind of right away that obviously Isagi, Bachira, Chigiri have triple links. Isagi, Bachira, and Reo have a triple link. They've got 2 triple links, it looks like. And then Isagi, Chigiri, and Reo. Then there's the Bachira, Chigiri, Reo. And then there's also, as you can see, like these 4 alone just kind of completely fit in with each other. And like, you just obviously have your last striker, right? So I think, I don't really think there's any striker you can really substitute outside of Borrow, but Borrow comes out really late. I think Borrow comes out, like, I want to say like August or so. So it's like super far out for that. Yeah, so, and then by then we'll have this Kunigami, which will make things like stupid, right? But that's kind of looking way too far ahead. But yeah, this comp right here will actually be pretty decent. And then, yeah, you can see kind of on this website some of the other combinations. I believe this comp will be available in like July-ish, because it's the, I think this is a kimono Hiyori. But we are getting this Otoya and this Karasu and this Chigiri like pretty much all back to back. So you can kind of play like these 4. And if there's like a striker that works with any of them, like maybe like Sendo or Yukimiya, this is probably a playable comp too. But yeah, that's kind of like the gist for that. So Reo, just as a player, is just going to be, he's just kind of locked by the passage of time for now. And that's kind of the gist here. As always, rate, comment, subscribe. I do read and reply to comments when I feel necessary, as always. And I will see you in the Rin video later this week.